And I'll talk to you, right?
To me.
Yeah, not into the camera.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. My name is Tomas Härenstam. I'm the lead designer of the Crusader Kings board game, and I'm one of the founders of Fria Ligan Publishing, who is publishing this and producing the board game.
And Fria Ligan, where did it come from? I have seen. I have to say that your PR has been pretty good. I have noticed a lot of announcements. Boel is doing a good job, I think.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Boel joined the team in the last couple of months, and she's been doing a really good job at getting our word out about us and our stuff. Fria Ligan has existed since 2011, so it's 7 years now actually, but it's been growing slowly. I mean, we started out small and it's been building it up piece by piece. Where our background is primarily in the tabletop role-playing games. That's really where we come from. But we've been really for a long time looking for the right board game project to get into. And with my background, I worked at Paradox Interactive with Crusader Kings and other titles. It felt like the perfect fit for a board game to base it on Crusader Kings, which is a computer game that I really love and have worked with. So then we felt like that's what we want to do. And we pitched it to Paradox, and here we are.
When you decided that okay, you are going to pitch this would be a good game, did it happen? They were also doing. Were they also talking about all these other board game projects or
the other ones? Not at that time, as far as I remember, but in a little bit soon after, I heard about the other projects as well. I'm not involved in them, but it's really cool. I think that Paradox is doing this, not just one game, but four at the same, or almost the same time, at least announcing them at the same time. It really shows that that's something they're serious about and want to commit to. It's just not one thing, but it's actually going to be a new branch of what they do. I mean, we and the other board game publishers, we're making the games, but Paradox is really passionate about us as well. So it's like a really good partner to work with because it's such a good fit for them as well and their audience.
How does this organization work then? You are making the games, you are publishing the games. What kind of Paradox is licensing the games, and they are, of course, you are getting now lots of PR through them with them. By their help, but how does otherwise this thing work?
Yeah, it's a licensing. It's a fairly standard licensing operation, basically. That we produce the games, we make it. Paradox's role is to, of course, they let us base it on Crusader Kings. They also help us to make sure it feels right and it's right for the brand. So they're involved in the process. We've play tested the game several times with the Crusader Kings PC team, Henrik Ferreras and the others, so that they're involved and know what's going on and feel like this is right for the brand. And also, of course, they help us here just get the word out about the project. But I mean, the actual game design is entirely on our end.
And publishing.
And publishing, yes. The production, making the miniatures and everything. All of that is also done by us. Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a tiny task anyway. You have getting the game to distribution and to retail outlets and so on. But at least. Audience was very welcoming this morning. Yeah,
it was really cool to just go on stage like that and hear the cheers. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And of course, the beautiful detail there was Cities Skylines board game, Europe Universalis board game, and the biggest cheers and biggest applause to your game. That was such beautiful detail.
Yeah, thank you.
Lots of passionate people about that.
Yeah.
And to think, Cities is very popular game, Europe Universalis is very popular game, Hearts of Iron is very popular, but then where did this extreme enthusiasm for Crusader Kings board game come from?
Yeah. It's really cool to see. I mean, people are really responding well to it. So Crusader Kings has got, I think for Fria Ligan, it's a really good game to base it on. it's a strategy game, it's a board game, but it's also got a lot of character and story, which fits with what Fria Ligan has been doing previously.
And for you, taking into this task of making, you know Crusader Kings perfectly yourself, you have lived with it for so many years. So in a way, it was easy for you to jump into this project. But then, of course, the challenge of picking the ingredients and making a good board game out of that. How did it work?
Yeah, that was the tricky part, because what we realized right away that we cannot just sort of port the computer game to the tabletop. I mean, a single player campaign of Crusader Kings 2 can go on for hundreds of hours, and it's got so many details, and that's just not possible to just put on the board game. It's not going to be playable. So what we really tried to do was to sort of get the essence of Crusader Kings, to sort of get that feel right. The type of discussions you should have with yourself and the other players should feel CK. And that's really been the focus, and that's what we've been trying to do with traits and events and things like that, to sort of create these kinds of narratives that you get when you play the computer game. But that's been the real challenge. And I'm the lead designer, but we also have a team behind it. Jon Manker is an experienced board game designer. We brought on as a consultant to the project as well, to really make sure we don't make any stupid mistakes. So I think we've all together, the whole design team, we sort of tried to really get that together, and we're happy with it. So we'll see what people say.
Mm-hmm. And game design is also this. Let's say I've been board gamer from 80s, and I have garage, lots of old hex board game boxes in my garage. Yeah. Gathering dust because I just get the box, I look, this was such a good game, and then I look at the little cardboard pieces, hundreds and hundreds of them. Like fighting in the Normandy, that was awesome, but no more. But,
I played those games too, and liked them, but it's been a while.
But today's board games, they are completely different. Like we saw yesterday, people were picking it up quite quickly, and the gameplay was quite fast, and the turns were not too complicated, and people went on with it.
That's what we tried to do. We want the game that you can actually play in a couple of hours with your friends. It shouldn't be that huge game that takes a whole weekend to play. That's not what we wanted to do. So what we really tried to get, like, this basic gameplay is quite fast and simple. It's quick to get into once you just learn the basics. Then there's a lot of more strategies and things you can do. When you play the game a couple of times, you'll sort of see that, all right, if I do this, if I do that, there is some more layers to it. But the core, like, gameplay loop is quite straightforward and easy to learn.
And for example, these action cards, event cards, where you have something you do and something that happens to you or somebody else. So how did you work with them, inventing, deciding what kind of things will be?
This is something we worked a lot with to see, because in the computer game, there's, of course, you do a lot of stuff as a player, but then also you have these events coming up that are, of course, triggered by things you do, but also in some degree random things happen to you. And we wanted to have some of that. It's not too much chance, but some level of things happen to you and you need to react to them. So what we did to get those things together and not have two separate systems, the actions that you take and the events that you trigger are on the same card, which means that when you want to play an action, you will trigger an event that is usually a little bit bad for you. That meaning you have some degree of control over the events, and you need to weigh them against the action you want to make. And we think that's an interesting kind of trade-off to make. You sort of have to figure, okay, if I play this card, I really want to do this because I want to invade that province. So I want to use this invade card, but then this will happen, and that's not going to be really good for me. So and you need to think about that. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. And in the demo games yesterday, I was in one of the teams, but you was, of course, seeing a lot of groups coming and going and playing, and even our short game, it was quite full of twists and drama, and of course, interesting human interaction, which is the awesome thing in these games. How what kind of feeling did you get from the demo games? What kind of drama happened in these short sessions?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a lot of fun to see because every game is different. Some things sort of, but there's always some strange. Someone called it. And the official term is emergent storytelling, but someone call it emergent nonsense, which is kind of fun. Just strange things happen when you interact with the rules and each other, and just this kind of a thing. I mean, almost normal thing is that you sort of have this. You can have bad luck and have a son or an heir who's actually quite useless. And as a regent, as a king, you really don't want that person to inherit the throne, and you might need to do something to get rid of your own son, possibly. That happens quite often. To marry him off to someone, you pay to have someone, or send him to the Crusades and hope he might not make it back. So that's another way. A lot of things like that happens, and it's fun to see how people interact with the game in different ways and focus on different things, because you have some leeway there and some choice how you want to play it, which is fun.
Yeah. About Free League itself. Okay, so you have been around for 5-6 years, something now. That okay. How does this role-playing gaming field in Sweden in English language market for your games? What kind of market do you have? How has the company developed?
Yeah, I mean, we started out doing games in Swedish. Our first 2 role-playing games were in Swedish only. And then it was also a situation, or a few years before that, I think role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games were discussed as being a dying form, and there was some talk about the death of RPGs and so on. But around that time, around the time we got started, was kind of when the sort of resurgence and the kind of started. And since then, things have been moving really quickly. I mean, our third game was Mutant Year Zero, based on an old classic Swedish RPG, Mutant, and that one we also released in English in the same year. That was 2014, and that's also around the time we started trying out crowdfunding and kickstarting, and those things, making international versions and also being on Kickstarter, has sort of moved us along. So now it's been growing really quickly, and we have 3 international English RPGs out, 4th one coming this summer. The 3rd one we made is Tales from the Loop, which was the biggest success yet, and had some luck at some good results at Gen Con, won some awards and gotten some really good feedback, and so it's been going quickly. I mean, and for us it's been a chance to actually, I mean, we started doing this part-time. In the beginning it was only like something we did on weekends, and you know, into something now it's turned into a full-time job for us, which is a lot of work but a lot of fun too.
And Vampire, it's how about that? How did that happen?
Which one?
Vampire.
Oh, Vampire! Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Vampire is not our game. It's not. They're doing the graphic design for it. Yeah. I mean, I know the White Wolf guys from. I mean, I worked at Paradox. I sort of ran into them. I didn't work with them specifically, but I met them and we talked, and it turned out they loved our stuff. I mean, and they were starting working on Vampire 5. And they knew of the work we had done with Tales from the Loop and Mutant Year Zero and Coriolis, and I guess they thought we could possibly do a good job for the graphic design, because that's something we really try to push hard in our games, to really make them not only be good games but also look nice. So yeah, they asked us if we wanted to pitch for a design for Vampire 5. So we did that. We made a few spreads, sample designs, and had a discussion, and then they offered us the job, and we took it, and now that's actually going on right now in parallel with this. We're working on the design for Vampire 5, which is really cool. Yeah, my name is Tomas Härenstam with the Free League, and we're making the Crusader Kings board game. I really think you should check out the Kickstarter. If you're into juicy medieval drama and like board games, check out the Kickstarter, and I'll see you there.